Welcome back to the Morning Kickoff Show. I'm your host, Matt Witt, and we are back to talk Minnesota Vikings football. This week, week 13, the Minnesota Vikings are back at the bank to host the 7-4 New York Jets. Sunday, 12 o'clock Central Time on CBS if you're in the Minnesota area. Minnesota Vikings coming off of a win, a primetime victory for Kirk Cousins on Thanksgiving against the New England Patriots, have now had a long time to prepare for this game where the Minnesota Vikings will host a New York Jets team that is not the New York Jets team that we've seen from the past. This Jets team has taken a complete 180 under new head coach Robert Saleh, going on to his second or third year now, has completely turned that defense around, and they have, in my opinion, the best rookie class out of any other team in the NFL currently. Minnesota Vikings, now this is the fourth week in a row we are going to be playing a team with a winning record. I mean, the critics continue to say that the Vikings haven't played anyone, but we have. I mean, the Vikings might not have a victory that's more than one possession, might not have a victory that's not a one-possession game. But at the end of the day, the Vikings continue to play playoff teams, continue to play teams with winning records. I mean, the argument that the Vikings haven't played anybody was valid a long time ago. At this point, I think it's safe to say the Vikings are playing arguably the two best divisions in the NFL currently, with the NFC East and the AFC East. Okay, looking at the Jets for right now, I mean, the Jets and Minnesota Vikings are in a completely different scenario. The Jets are actually playing for their division. The Vikings have already locked down their division, and now the AFC East is up for grabs. Buffalo Bills have lost a couple games. Looking at it with the Miami Dolphins, they're also a team that's fluctuating up and down this entire season. Jets are looking to take their division, and if not that, they're looking to finally sneak in the playoffs for the first time since 2010. The Jets have the longest playoff drought currently, with 12 years with not a single playoff appearance. Now with 7 teams making the playoffs and with 17 weeks, the Jets can finally have an opportunity. As of right now, the Jets have more wins than they had the last 2 seasons combined. So like I mentioned, Jets, complete 180 from the Jets team that we've seen the last decade. But as of right now for the New York Jets, under new quarterback Mike White, things are looking promising. With that being said, Mike White, coming off of a victory last week where he beat the Chicago Bears 31-10 on a game where he threw over 300 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, has come in and taken over for Zach Wilson after the team looks like the team is not really in with Zach Wilson. They'll probably end up trading him to the Carolina Panthers because everybody trades their quarterbacks first round bust to the Carolina Panthers. Now looking at with the Jets, they decided to go with Mike White instead of Joe Flacco. Kind of a surprise to me, as Mike White last year had an up and down season. Mike White, coming off of last year's performance, first start through over 400 passing yards. After that, wasn't the same story. Hopefully, history can repeat itself and Mike White doesn't have back-to-back great games, because last week was an impressive performance from him, and now he's going up against a Minnesota Vikings defense that ranks 32nd in passing yards allowed per game. Yes, that's 30 seconds. The Minnesota Vikings defense is dead last when it comes to allowing passing yards. Now going up against a Mike White, please, if you're going to allow up a lot of yards, at least sneak in a few turnovers there so you don't lose to the New York Jets in front of your home crowd. So you don't humiliate your home crowd again like we did against the Dallas Cowboys. Other than that, Minnesota Vikings have been undefeated at home, other than the Dallas Cowboys disappointment. But their defense is the reason why they're 7-4 right now. A Robert Saleh defense that now has a rookie corner, Sauce Gardner, coming in here, who looks like he's already won the Defensive Rookie of the Year. And now he's going up against Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the NFL, is going up against maybe the best rookie corner right now in the NFL, the front runner for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think it's safe to say Mike White is not scared of our defense, and our Minnesota Vikings offense probably going to have some issues against their defense. I know it's a home field advantage. I know the US Bank Stadium's going to be loud. I know this is going to be a very exciting 12 o'clock game with the new nightmare Kirk Cousins. But they got to come fully prepared if they want to come up with a victory in this game. Looking at the injury report for this matchup, unfortunately, once again, Christian Darrisaw will likely not play in this game. Again, it's going to be a day-to-day decision for Kevin O'Connell. However, we can rule out Christian Darrisaw at this point. He has not practiced with the team with a concussion this week, and I believe last week they rushed him in too early to play. Ben Ellefson, also questionable to play. He did not participate with last couple of practices this week for the Minnesota Vikings. Again, Ben Ellefson coming off of IR, he was just activated because Andrew Booth Jr. has been put on IR for the rest of the season. Andrew Booth Jr. will be out the remainder of the season. Ben Ellefson has been activated but will likely not play in this game. Looking at it for the New York Jets, Michael Carter, Their starting running back after Breece Hall went down with an injury is questionable to play in this game. He did not participate this week with an ankle injury. If we do see Michael Carter go out, I would expect to see James Robinson start for them. They recently traded with the Jaguars to acquire James Robinson. If not, Ty Johnson could step out there. They have a very good running back room. I wouldn't see it much of an issue if Michael Carter does not play. Dwayne Brown, also their starting left tackle, is questionable to play in this game with a shoulder injury. Dwayne Brown, a beast, and the Jets, unfortunately, have seen a lot of injuries on their offensive line. In my opinion, they've suffered with more offensive line injuries than any other team in the NFL. 3 first-round draft picks, being Elijah Vera Tucker, ruled or put on IR. They had Mekhi Becton, again, ruled out for the rest of the season, ruled out for the entire season, didn't even play this year. And it's very possible that they start Mike Remmers at right tackle. Yes. For those of you Vikings fans who are not just bandwagon Vikings fans, you know who Mike Remmers is. He was our right tackle for a couple of years, and he held his own. He was with us during our 2017 run where the Vikings were tied with the best record in the league, and we're not going to say what happened after that. Okay, going on for the Minnesota Vikings, how can the Vikings win this game? It really just comes down to your offensive performance and your defensive turnovers. And that's why I go to my key on defense for the Minnesota Vikings, too high on all 3 downs. We have to not allow explosive offensive plays to the New York Jets. Here's the thing with the Minnesota Vikings. Like I say every single week, the Vikings give up way too many yards and way too many points per game, but it really comes down to turnovers can save you. Getting to the quarterback can save you. Those third down stops and turnovers will make up for the lack of talent you have on defense. I'm going to be completely honest. We might have Hall of Famers on defense, but at the end of the day, the Vikings defense has disappointed all of us Minnesota Vikings fans, and you can put the blame on a lot of different people. But I'm going to say right here, too high is what the Minnesota Vikings have to do here. You have to have Cam Bynum and Harrison Smith have to have a good day. You have to have Eric Kendricks and Jordan Hicks have a good day in the run blocking and pass protection game. Looking at it for the New York Jets offense, they have multiple players who can run a sub 4.4. Mike White has a cannon for an arm. Looking at it, I should not see Garrett Wilson run past Patrick Peterson and Harrison Smith for 60-yard touchdowns. I should not see the same with Elijah Moore, who can do the exact same thing. Both these small receivers can run sub 4.4s and just run past our guys on defense. And that's when it comes down to just how can your secondary force those shorter passes? How can your secondary take away the explosive plays the New York Jets can do, and they have done? And we saw it last week against the Chicago Bears. Mike White has a cannon. You have to be able to get to him as a quarterback, and you have to be able to stop the guys outside the numbers. For this, Mike White, who does he also like to throw to? He likes to throw to his big body tight ends. They have our boy, Tyler Conklin, now having his best season of his career to this point. Us Minnesota Vikings fans love Tyler Conklin. He loved playing here. He played here for 4 years. We let him go, unfortunately. But still, they're going to go to Tyler Conklin in this game. He's playing his former team, meaning he has a chip on his shoulder. They also have CJ Ozema, the guy who played with the Bengals last year, who he can also utilize as a target. Elijah Moore, these guys, he has multiple weapons. You got Denzel Mims, you got Corey Davis. Come on. They can run all over us. They can do whatever they want in this Minnesota Vikings defense, and we just have to take away those explosive plays that could kill us for the Minnesota Vikings defense. Now, Minnesota Vikings defense has to come up with turnovers, have to get to the quarterback. Now, that aside, the Vikings winning this game, we aren't relying on our defense. We aren't. If our Vikings defense wins us this game, that's going to mean that our Vikings offense had another bad day. And I can't see my Minnesota Vikings offense have another bad day. What has been on offense that has led the Vikings to a lot of downfalls in games? Just not being able to protect for Kirk Cousins. And that's why when you look at it for the Minnesota Vikings offense, the key on offense to winning this game, additional blockers. Okay, you don't have your best offensive lineman in this game playing in Christian Darrisaw. Easily your best offensive lineman so far this season. You have Blake Brandel stepping out there again, and now he's going up against a Jets defensive front that is very good, a Jets pass rushing game that can get to the quarterback whenever they want to, however they want to. Additional blockers on offense. I'm looking at Johnny Munt, and I'm looking at the backfield here to get more play time in this game to be able to buy Kirk Cousins enough time to make a play, because I believe there's no questioning Kirk Cousins might not be the most mobile quarterback, but when a clean pocket, the guy can make whatever pass he wants to make. And when you have Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen outside the numbers, you're perfectly fine. Kirk Cousins, please. Kevin O'Connell, I know you love to run a very risky offense, but in this game, I would like to see a lot of additional blockers. This means Johnny Munt, who's been a dog for us. I love Johnny Munt in purple and gold for us. He can block all game long. TJ Hawkinson, 2 tight end sets, I formation. Maybe you run multiple players in the backfield. I believe a lot of it comes to our backfield as well. Dalvin Cook hasn't done great in the blocking game, protecting for Kirk Cousins. I know he's trying to find the open field, but your first job should be protecting the blitz. I mean, what's the point of finding the open field if your quarterback's going to be brought to the turf? Looking at it for the Minnesota Vikings, those are my 2 keys. Offense, just adding additional blockers. On defense, really just coming down to shutting away those explosive plays that the Jets love to have because Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore can run past whoever they want. Bold prediction of the week for the Minnesota Vikings. I have Vikings tally 4 turnovers in this game. Last year, Mike White had his first start, had over 400 passing yards for the New York Jets, and then went on to throw 4 interceptions the next week. I believe it was the next week, if I have it right. I'm going to have history repeat itself. In this game, Mike White is coming off of a dominant performance against the Chicago Bears, a 31-10 victory where he threw over 300 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, coming off of that great game, is going to throw 4 interceptions in this game or turn the ball over 4 times for the Minnesota Vikings defense. And like I say, Vikings defense might struggle when it comes to allowing explosive plays and allowing too many yards and points per game, but they turn the ball over. For that reason, Vikings tally 4 turnovers in this game, which will help the Vikings out tremendously as Vikings will win the turnover battle. Going on to the final prediction for this game, I have the Minnesota Vikings just winning 16-13. Again, Jets defense is very, very, very good. I don't have the Minnesota Vikings scoring more than 2 touchdowns in this game, and we're going to have to wait to see. Maybe it does happen, but at the end of the day, can the Vikings finally win a game with more than 8 points, a game that's a 2-possession victory? No, I don't think it's going to happen. For that reason, I have the Vikings scoring just 3 points over the New York Jets to a 16-13 victory, moving on to 10-2 on the season. Let me know what y'all think.